Hello and welcome to the TT Audio Roundup, part 3. We have done this for 3 years in a row now, which is amazing.
Just
terrifying.
Haven't got rid of us. There was an awkward pause there. No one said anything.
So how we do this is we just talk about a couple of audios that have come out this year, and as per normal, we have had a lot come out this year. So we're just going to be talking about a few of them that were highlights for us lot in particular. So as you can see on your screens, we have with us Jimmy Wolf,
Hello.
David Bingham, Matthew Chambers, Chelsea Lagan, Matt Barrett, who we call Strax, just to avoid confusion. James York, who we call Jim because we like to do this, and Cath.
Jim.
Hello.
Cath, because why not?
Because Cath.
Jim.
So, to kick this off, Strax is going to be talking about the Dickensian episode Devils of the Caribbean.
But that is handy, considering that is the one I wrote. It's almost like we planned this, viewers.
Yeah.
It's almost like...
You imagine I should do that next year. What? I should just randomly shout an episode at you and just be like,
oh God!
You can't do that to me. I will not be able to cope.
Do you know what? I got a funny feeling. Yeah, I got a funny feeling. I can't even remember when I started writing that one because it was you, Abby, that was like, "I need people to write." Strax, do you want to write one for me? Yeah. How difficult can it be? Actually, I didn't find that one very difficult, to be quite honest. No, where would I write it? It must have been 2 years ago because I was still at my old job. I was actually writing it. Yeah, I was writing it there because I was bored, or it was at the very start of the year before I left there.
Yeah.
So I decided to write for your Dr. Dickensian and do a Pirates of the Caribbean inspired story for a Doctor Who, bringing out the Sea Devils before, I hasten to add, before TV decided
it was
to bring
written
back
before.
It was very before, actually.
Even, like,
Way
if
before.
anyone doesn't believe me, tough. That is what happened. I did it first.
We can confirm.
We can confirm. I even wrote.
But if you don't believe this, then you're
seven
wrong.
other independent witnesses.
He says
can
reaching
confirm.
for. I went old school. I actually wrote it down properly.
Oh my
Wow.
God. It
It
is
has
amazing.
inscriptions.
I have old script.
We have archive evidence,
That's-
people.
And then I typed it all up because I was at work and I didn't have anything to type it up. But yes, this was my idea of what would happen if Doctor Who met kind of Pirates of the Caribbean and Dickensian kind of basically sprung up on a ship in the middle of nowhere. And because I've played a lot of Assassin's Creed, typically Black Flag, I got my inspiration from. I was like, what do you know? Oh, well, I know boats, I know ships, I know Blackbeard and Captain Hornigold. Yes, you may laugh at the name, like we did. And Bartholomew Rogers, and everything. So it was fun writing a script where the Doctor is with pirates trying to blow up Sea Devils and beat them with just cannonballs and just no decent equipment other than
I think this was episode 2 of Dickensian, I believe.
I think so.
Yes, because Jim's was episode 3. Yeah.
So of course I didn't really know what your Doctor was going to be like.
It was a bit of a.
It was like ad lib if you need to.
it was a bit of a hit, like a bit of a kind of hope and pray. This is how. But I do feel like, because obviously we've got quite a lot of TT Doctors here, and I do feel like those first 2 episodes you're still trying to kind of figure out how you're gonna play them.
Oh,
I'm still figuring it out at the
Yeah.
moment.
You're only on episode 3, so
I know I'm still figuring out even when it comes to
Chelsea. Right, this time next
Got news
year,
for you,
I'll
I'm
ask
still
Chelsea
never
if you figured it
figuring
out
out.
yet.
Oh yeah, I'm
into
like
series
I
2.
just open it up. I still haven't figured it out.
Metal
still
Doctor
here.
Who.
I've done it. I've done it.
All I figured out was from what you were telling me that she was a bit like Miranda Hart, kind of clumsy. So I went with clumsy and, did things like, aha, out comes the Sonic, drops the Sonic onto the floor, rolls underneath the cannon. Excuse me, mate, can I just have your sword? I just need to get
Fishes
down
it
to
out with the sword.
So and doesn't actually get to do anything with it because
The thing is, that was that was right at the beginning of the year. Like, it just feels like so long ago.
I think it set the tone for Dickensian, though. It's such a Dickensian thing to do, so it definitely set the tone in that way. It's just like,
it's the
that's
fact
for
that she was. I wanted to put in like because obviously she wouldn't have known like Blackbeard as Ed would teach and so Blackbeard wasn't actually Blackbeard in there until Dickensian sort of drops in the line of like Blackbeard and he's like Blackbeard. Oh, I quite like the sound of that.
Because Chambers was Blackbeard, wasn't he?
Yes, and I wrote a couple of the parts specifically for people I knew.
I need an Irish pirate who can play that.
Well, she's an actual pirate, but in the game, was it Anne? Was it Anne? I think your character
Anne Bonny.
Anne Bonny. She's an actual. She was in the Pirates of the Caribbean, and I was like, I know a man who can do a very good booming voice. He is our Brian Blessed of the group.
You know when you've been
no one else.
We need a Brian Blessed type.
Yeah. No offense to Jim, but I don't think Jim could have pulled off Blackbeard.
It would have been something like, oh my god, babes.
It would be a whole other direction.
It would have been Blackbeard from a different universe.
I have conditioned it with the most softest of pearl and tortoise.
I put like things that make it go fizzy and all sorts.
No, babes, my beard isn't on fire. My beard is on fire.
It's fabulous.
Fabulous.
Oh my god! Now I want to do this.
But it was fun to write, and of course I edited it as well. So that was just fun trying to find all of the. When I say fun, it was a bit of a pain trying to find pirate ship noises and creaking sounds and things that sound like.
Did we have Epidemic at this point?
I don't think we did. Did we?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we kind of sort of almost. It was in that weird stage of like. We saw I can remember you suggested Epidemic, but I think it wasn't. We didn't have the full transition of everything.
Yeah, it might have been like a new
summer
thing.
buy. Yeah, I got some of my stuff from there, and also other bits from YouTube, if I could, and managed to get them. Which was handy, especially the pirates singing on the ship. You need to see Shanty. While
you said piracy, and I was like,
no pirates, no piracy was involved. Pirates singing. But you needed pirates singing on the ship because it wouldn't sound right otherwise.
Yeah, true.
And it just brought me back to many hours playing Assassin's Creed. They got thousands and thousands of different sea shanties, but it was fun to write.
So segueing in a completely different direction, from sea devils and pirates to zombies in the 1840s. Chelsea Lagan.
Like you do.
Right,
so tell us your subject and
my subject today, Quizmaster, is the Reanimated. So the Reanimated series, actually, it didn't start with me. I didn't come up with it or nothing. It was solely Abigail. And going through my research, Abby asked me to help her with an episode of Reanimated that she was stuck on. And that's usually how we do things.
Yeah.
It's like if anybody gets stuck on something, it's just like, help Doctor Who people, I need help with this. And then everybody would just like jump on the bandwagon. But Abby asked me to help with this because apparently I'm good at writing gore and zombies.
Who knew?
And I know, who would have known? And she asked me to help out the same day that I finished Outcast Dead. And how long does that go?
Gosh, yeah.
The start of me hitting honks. So there you go. That was that. And whenever I went on to it, I was just like, I don't know what happened. It was just like kind of not even my brain took over, and it was just like dabbling and doing it away and just constantly writing it. And then it came to the point where me and you were writing Reanimated and The Touch simultaneously, and we finished, what was it, The Touch? It was definitely The Touch that we did it, that somebody will talk about later. That we wrote that, what, a week?
Yeah.
A week? Like a full
10 days, because we spoke about it last audio roundup, so it's 10 days to complete that.
And it was like the same with Reanimated. We got through it so very quickly. And then I just kept coming up with ideas and everything. And Abby was like slowly just,
yeah, write it, Chels. Go on, write it.
Try one episode. Try one episode. Done. Okay, well, go.
Off you go.
Go.
Here is your audio drama.
Oh, but the Reanimated.
This is how I get you to
That's it. I'm trying to push you out of your comfort zone. Here you go. And Reanimated was very like I never really had that much script writing experience, but whenever I got into Reanimated, I don't know, it just kind of like ignited something, and I was just like, oh my god, I need to write more. So now I've kind of like taken over the show, and it's gory, it's squishy, it's not nice, and half the zombie noises you hear are provided by myself because Epidemic, yes, love you Epidemic, sponsor us please. But there's some zombie noises that I
sponsor us please, but do better.
And I was just like, you know what, I'll provide the zombie noises myself, so I'm like zombie number 8, which is like
literally most of the time, including episode 1, when you hear a zombie, it's just Chelsea.
It's me because I couldn't find anything. So there we go.
You're gonna get more people going, I know somebody who can do zombies now.
My Twitter is but no, Reanimated is very
we need a zombie
good.
with a sense of melancholy.
But the latest one that we have out, so far is Reanimated 3. With this one, I kind of obviously there's been a lot of tragedy so far with like the series. Obviously, Leon losing his sister, played by yours truly. Losing
the
his
most annoying character Chelsea has ever played.
I don't know. Tilly just wasn't me vibe. Like, I think the only thing I vibe with her was her having a cigarette outside, but then it led to her demise. But,
don't smoke.
Don't smoke, kids.
You'll get bitten by a zombie.
But it's like it's very weird because when you're trying to put something into like, you know, something that is very visually disgusting, and translate that into sound, and that's the only thing that it's not nice.
You don't realise how strange a noise you need with that gory stuff. Because obviously, many moons ago, we done an audio called Scarlet Lust. And you don't realise how gory vampires are until you have to do all the sound effects.
Some sound effects don't sound like you want them to.
No, it's not nice. But like on the Reanimated, I'm overlapping tracks. So I have the breaking of bones, which is celery sticks. I have the gory, mushy sounds, and it's like, ugh. But like you have to have that sometimes. I feel that people are maybe too afraid to just go out there and just, you know, like have that sort of like realism. But that's what I kind of like about it. I like that in like movies and things like that. Like I'm a total gore fan. I love it. And so I was just like, you know what, I'm going to bring this to audio. If it makes people uncomfortable, if it makes me uncomfortable, now that is the kicker.
Do you know what we need to do? You and David need to write a horror.
Oh, David, let's go. Let's exchange details.
Yeah.
Next Halloween.
I've already got a few ideas.
Text me after. We gotta sort this out. But the latest episode of Reanimated is I don't know how I segued into this.
I'd say calm before the storm.
It is. It's. I've made it into because everything's been like really fast paced and everything through this like the last couple of episodes. But for this one, I kind of wanted to have an introductory episode because we're introducing new characters. We're introducing a lot of kids. It's based in an orphanage, and these kids have been taking care of themselves.
Literally every TT child is in this audio.
Yeah,
Every single one of them.
And new ones. We even got new little peeps. New wee weens are joining the group. I got my brother on who played my character Molly's son Charlie. He's back, and got my wee cousin in it, and got a pile of wee weens to do it, and it's great.
The other new girl we got was Amelia Robertson, and all the other kids are just.
I'll tell you now, all them weens are fantastic.
So good.
Like literally, they even act professional, following direction and everything. I thought, we're gonna bring you back.
Because most of them done live as well. I think the only ones that didn't do live were basically the under 10s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I got Brandon and my cousin to record
Basically,
separately, which was
your
fine.
brother Casey and Noah, the younger ones, they were the ones that sent in, and everybody else done it
but
live.
They were brilliant. They were grand. But yeah, this episode is definitely a calm before the storm. So, when we have another one next year, I'm just going to look at the screen and say, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but I'm not sorry, but I am slightly." But I have another little thing that's in the mix at the minute. I'm doing a thing called the Case Files before the Reanimated, and essentially these are going to be like a collection of stories. Every single episode is going to have new characters, new stories, but it's going to be based on the actual significant people that have become reanimated. The first one, I don't know if it's going to be out by then.
Yeah, it should be out by then.
It's okay, I can talk about it. Right, so the very first episode is Case 101, Mr. And if you remember in the very first episode of The Reanimated, there is a zombie that is in the hospital with Abigail, and she just gives him a nickname. She's like, "Oh, see you later, Mr." And I don't know, it stuck with me, and I'm just like, you know what? I want to write a history. I want people to see how he went from basically a normal man to this zombie that is now called Mr. Because it's like they've lost their identity. They've lost all their identities. They just become the Reanimated. But I just wanted to explore what they were like before the Reanimated.
See, that's an absolutely brilliant idea, because I think what gets lost in a lot of zombie media, and thankfully Reanimated has covered this pretty well, is, unfortunately, a lot of people don't realize, yes, zombies are horrible, but then they seem to forget that these were once people.
Yeah.
And I think what makes, especially with the Reanimated series, so great is it's like you are reminded that these are living, walking corpses that used to be people. They used to be, but they've lost that. They lost that identity. I think that brings in a new kind of fear of losing what makes you, essentially.
Well, Cath, this is Cath's first edit. This is going to be her first time edit. I've listened to it. I am in love with it.
It just needs to be scored
brought
now,
it to
doesn't
life.
it?
Oh yeah. Oh well, get all that sort of. Don't you worry. Sorry. But it is brilliant. So please, everybody, give that a wee watch, because it is going to be class. And audition as well if you want to. It's cool.
Yeah, because one of the main objectives for that audio series in particular is we want to get more people, new people.
Oh yeah, I basically want nearly all new.
Yeah.
Give them more purple experience.
So, as those regular viewers will see, we have the normal cast and crew here, but we do have a new boy. His name is Jimmy Wolf.
Hello.
He's not new to us.
I was going to say, so it's not. I'm new to this, but I'm not new, because it feels like I've been doing this for ages, and yet no time is all at the same time.
The thing. So I don't actually remember when you joined TT. However, this is your first TT audio roundup.
It is.
So, hello. I say, bearing in mind, so I went back and I rewatched all of these, and it was really weird to see, because the first one, Chelsea, had only been with us like a month.
Oh my god.
She's like, I'm the new girl, and then the second one, she's like, I'm not the new girl. So Jimmy is our new blood to this particular part of TT.
I'm an old hand, no.
Yeah. You're an OG. In all fairness, you're an OG, really.
I'm part of the group.
Part of the furniture.
So on our channel, Jimmy has a doctor called Agency Doctor. So
I do indeed.
So
I'm going to talk about the second. So the first story was obviously the introduction story, which I was very pleased with. Obviously, I've got the wonderful Cath as my companion, Strax here. And I think the second story was Steam Revolution, which was the sort of their first adventure together. And I'll be perfectly honest, I've genuinely tried to remember how I came up with this, and I have absolutely no idea. As far as I can remember, I was on a train. I think I was coming back from London, funny enough, when I was down visiting. And I was on a train, and I started thinking about, wouldn't it be great if you could, I want to do something with trains. I want to do something with trains because I like trains, and I thought it'd be a great soundscape and things like that. And I had no idea what to do. And then that evening, I was sat at home racking my brains for ideas, and I was watching Maximum Overdrive. And I was like, Right, there we go. Okay, train coming to life. And in my head, I started writing it, and I had this amazing, soundscape of these massive train crashes, and it was amazing. And it's like, oh, this is going to be so good. And then I sat down to edit it, and like, oh crap, I've got to actually edit this sounds and do this sort of massive soundscape of train crashes. But I was really pleased with it, because it was probably, I would say, obviously those who know my Captain Dewey Pie channel will know that I've done my own doctor stuff on that, but I never really made them hugely atmospheric. It was a lot more talking than anything else. So with TT, I really wanted to go down the route of really sort of making these feel like they were much sort of larger in scope and give a much wider impression of atmosphere with them. So with this one, as I said, I sort of really wanted to sort of, I think a good sort of 90% of the script is set outside, and the only bits that then aren't set outside are set in large buildings where there's a massive echo and lots of sounds going on.
Pub.
Or the pub. Lots of background noise.
Only agency would go to the pub and order tea.
Yes, of course. That's not a true to life thing at all.
That's well disgraceful.
Go down to the pub and order a cup of tea.
It's like when you go to a pub and you have the carvery, and then they go, "Do you want any hot drinks? A cup of tea or a cup of coffee?"
Ages be like, tea, please.
Yeah, but at that point, I would have already been. Well, I've already had 3. Of course, I want another one.
Reminds me, but that's very 11.
It's bad.
Just tea and leave the bag in. Get the strong stuff.
But it was such a, and I had such a, obviously we had Mr. Connor Chadwick, of course, was in it as well. We had the wonderful Matt Barrett was also in it, Cath, and then of course we had Rory of Razzle Productions was also in it as well. It was just absolutely brilliant. Everyone came to go, and it was one of those times when I was writing it, and I had it in my head, and I was like, it's one of those things. It's like, I know how I want this to sound, and I've got to try and get this across. And it was like everybody in the cast, it was as soon as they read it, as soon as they did it, it was there. And everyone was just absolutely brilliant.
I will say this, for those of you who haven't recorded live, actually all of you have recorded live with Jimmy's Doctor, but I'm going to mention it anyway because audience. Agency has a habit of going off tangent and just talking.
Oh, can we? Yes, absolutely.
I do, but the thing is that was just meant to be a random thing. I got at the end of the first episode, I didn't know how to finish the script, so I just put in ... and then I thought at the time I'm just going to keep running with it, and I kept running with it, and you let me go on for about 3 minutes.
You started going on about Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, you just kept me going on for like 3 minutes, and then I listened to the thing, and you basically cut off most of my ramble. But it's got to the point now where I'm like, okay, so that's a character trait. I'm going to write that in. So there's usually a bit in a script somewhere where I'm like, right, that's an agency ramble right there.
Ad-lib so much.
Yes.
You just ad-lib for anything.
I mean, this
you might as well not have script.
Nice way.
Yeah.
As his
agency,
companion, you need
so
to be
agency.
paying attention.
Well, that's the thing. It's like all of the TT doctors have got their own little their little things. Agency is the rambling doctor.
Yeah, but this is like Cath was saying, as the companion, she kind of has to be on the ball because Jimmy just goes.
But that's
like, hang on, let's bring that back to where we're going for the next
That's
scene.
basically what I rely on. I get to the point where I'm like, okay, it's kind of like an unspoken thing. It's kind of like I know, and you know, it's like, okay, he's starting to ramble, and I know as soon as you speak, I'm going to stop. And that's all it is. I've just got to keep it going until somebody stops me. Yeah. But I don't know why. It's just one of those things. It's just, I have those moments where I think to be honest, it's kind of like a writer's block defense mechanism. I can't think of something. So I think that doesn't sound right. And I think I'll just write that and then I'll just make something up or it will change slightly. But it's sort of bled out into so many other things I've done as well, and I don't quite know why. It's just become a habit.
It's definitely more like pronounced with the agency stuff. But as Strax was saying, every single one of our doctors kind of does a unique thing, and that's your doctor's thing.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
it's like even if you're writing for somebody else, it's like when I was writing the Pirates one, I was like, I know that I'm probably not writing it how Abi would necessarily say it as a doctor, so you're going to ad lib it, you carry on because you know how you're same as
well,
it's like for David
like
and Jim.
with Dickensian when I used to record Dickensian because she's go on by now. whenever I used to mess up a line, I normally used to just keep it in. It's like the whole Vians.
Yeah.
Vians.
Oh my
Like if Dickensian couldn't say a word, I'd always just keep it in because you'd have me.
Oh yeah, and then I edited that, so I kept it in. I kept them the whole
James
time.
Sutton telling me off because I kept pronouncing his character's name wrong, so he kept telling me it was wrong.
But the thing is, again,
and I just kept it in.
To sidetrack again, that's Dickensian's thing, because I can't remember which one it was. I know I directed or did something with one of the Dickensian ones, and you had to do a load of techno foiled. You had to do this whole load of techno babble, and there was so many words that you just kept tripping over, and it got to the point where I was sat there as you were recording, just going, keep it going. This is really good. Keep it going. Because I didn't care that you were stumbling. I was like, it's in character. Keep it. And I sort of tried. That's what. In a way, I think that's kind of the prelude to the stuff I do with agency. Is it just gets to the point where I realize I get to the end of my sentence, but my mouth keeps going and my brain's just going, just keep. Someone will stop you. Just keep it going. Someone will stop you.
Just release the unreleased agency rambles.
Pretty much.
Uncut edit.
I think as well, it's one of those things. Again, it's kind of like I said. Yeah, it's kind of like a defense mechanism, because I think it is one of those things that, even though I've been performing with you guys for quite a while now, there's still that sort of, I think everyone gets that slight sense of nervous, especially when it's something that you've written and you think, oh guys, and so it's just kind of like that. It's kind of like, in a way, I use those rambles to just kind of like almost stress relief, is thinking I can just feel myself getting a bit tense, so I'm just going to just ramble and carry on talking a bit like that we're doing right now.
He's doing it now.
Is an example, but this is I'm almost doing it now deliberately.
Cath, save us! Cath, save us!
Wait, do we have to segue to Cath now?
Well, no. Sadly, we're segueing to James York.
Sadly,
from
Jimmy
to Jim.
No, because I would have said if I didn't have.
Sadly, we've got to go over to James.
No.
The absolute bloody cheek of it.
We know, we're teasing.
What I'm saying is if I hadn't got a list in front of me that said that Jim was next, it would have been Cath, but it's not.
Going to our roving reporter, Jim, and he's live on the scene.
Hello there. So, oh my god, what a year for Queer Doctor. I mean, obviously we will be speaking about a certain story, which I think is the crown jewel, but I would have to say 2023 has been such an exciting time. I mean, not only did we have season 3, but we have had the specials. We have had the Halloween special, the 60th.
Yeah.
The 60th. Oh my god, thank Christ that's over. And then obviously
you did a banging job on that.
Oh, thank you.
Did an amazing job.
Thank you. That was my kind of worry. I was like, oh my god, am I going to be all right? I could remember when Abby sort of said to me, right, you're going to do the 60th. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll be fine. And then I was like, just like,
what's the worst that can happen?
Oh, I don't know, agency ad-libbing.
Brown trousers.
Yeah, agency ad-libbing, you know, we've got like Strax going, what's my line again?
Well, that's just me in general.
That's why I ad-libbed. I didn't know what my line was.
But the one kind of crowning jewel I would have to say of Queer Doctor this year has to be Gates to Hell, which to me was one of my proudest stories to do. So a little context. Gates to Hell was originally going to be the season 3 finale, not in the middle, because I was going to have more seasons than I normally planned, and then I thought, you know what, I need to cut a few things, and of course, spoiler alert, Erin dies, and it was
damn you.
I know. And I was just like, as someone who had these characters for a very, very long time, I was like, how on earth am I going to do this? How on earth am I going to do that? And I can remember writing the script, and it was, I believe, at the time of the previous one, were just about to record it. Yeah. Because we had a little bit of a break, and I can remember there was so much emotions, especially when writing it. I'm not going to lie. When writing it, I cried. From recording it, rehearsing it, I think there was no dry eye in the place, and I think it's one of those stories where, as not only as a writer, but as a showrunner and as a doctor, I was so proud of the people that I was working with, and especially with Grace.
Oh, she did an amazing job. An absolute fantastic job.
I didn't want to kill her.
Yeah, and of course it introduced David as the master, which I thought was, I was just like, come on, David, come on, you can pull out the part, come on. I was so proud. And again, it was just great because when it all came out, I mean, I was, again, nervous as anything, because I was thinking, I'm killing off a companion here. What is the reception going to be like? And again, just the feedback of not only just like my peers, but just people who have watched this, I was like, oh my God, I've broken a few hearts. Okay. Right.
Job done.
Job done. Yeah.
Yep, that's a big tick.
Get up, boys. We're going.
There's a big old tick there.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished.
On to the next.
Yeah, I don't know about, obviously, because well, I would have to say killing off a companion is probably or getting a companion exit, especially when you're trying to not make it so obvious that that companion is exiting or is going to leave or is going to be written out of the series. I just wanted it to be very much the case of, right, there is no turning back now. There is no, and I'm just like, oh my God. But yeah, no, I have to say, just to everyone who was part of it, and to Queer Doctor itself, and to everyone who's been part of this season, it's been magical just to see the fanfare and just to hear such wonderful things. And just, I think, as someone who's on their third season, so as the most seasoned TT Doctor here, I can tell you this to those who are going to experience their second season or their third season. My advice for you is go big or go home, because
Nay bother, I will.
Yeah, because you got to,
right?
And I think you got to. So yeah, no, I don't know. Like, obviously, you know, yeah, I just think it was such a wonderful story to do, and I think, I don't know, I think for me it was so heartbreaking to do, and I was so proud to do that kind of story. And I think, again, Grace and Brandon beautifully shone their characters, and it was just, yeah, I was going to need a lot of tissues and a lot of chocolate to get over this.
So, Cath.
Yeah.
It's your turn.
I don't know why this makes me nervous every time.
Why? You're just talking to us, and you do that all the time. So just pretend there's no one else watching. I've gone about. I do apologise. This happens.
Oh, it's all right.
He's trying to make you feel at home.
Aye.
Where's the
Right,
sheet,
guys? Who's caused that jacket? There you go.
Right, so I am going to talk about The Touched.
Whoop.
This is a project that I hold very close to my heart. It is my baby, even though I didn't write it or do anything for it. It's like for act, but it is mine. I don't care.
It's yours now. You can have it.
Abi and Chelsea co-wrote a lot of The Touch together. And I have to say, it's so incredibly well written. The way that the girls have like worked together and co-thought of their ideas and bounced off one another just left me speechless, because I was really lucky. Abi and Chelsea were like, I need to show you what I've written. What do you think? And they would send me the scripts and I'd be like, I need this. When you're doing the next one? And then like literally like, I think I did at one point like 2 scripts in a night. And like it started planning things out. So with regards to obviously script wise and all of that, they're exceptional. Then we move on to the placement of characters, because they could not have written a better script for each person who was playing the characters that they wanted. So obviously we have Clarence that Jimmy Wolf plays, who is your, I was going to say your stereotypical shy boy, but direct at the same time. He can manage a group of people, but he's like your little awkward shy boy when women are concerned.
I will never. I need to bring up, because we're talking about Clarence, and it would have been out by this point. There's a scene? Spoilers if you've not listened. There's a scene when he walks in on Emma in the bath, and Jimi done as Jimi does and ad-libbed.
Yeah.
One of the best ad-libbing moments in TT.
I think it genuinely was just in the script. I think the line was just Clap's like, "Oh, I'm very sorry. People are looking for you," and I just like, right, okay, just you guys just stay there for a couple of minutes. I'll just, and I genuinely cannot remember what I said until I listened back to it.
So he's like, oh, this room could do with a lick of paint. Yes. And then he goes to leave, and he's like,
I tried to get out the door, and I couldn't get out the door.
Why won't the door? Why won't the door? It's a push door.
It's push. I will see more of you. I will see you
more
later.
of you later.
See, no, I don't remember any of this because it's just one of those things. It's in my brain and then it's out. That's it. And it's not going to stick in there. It's not planned.
All the way through, Cath's character Emma, which we'll talk about in a minute. It's just awkward giggling, and it's so good.
I had to mute myself for that. I was pissing myself. I'm not gonna lie.
It's so hard though, like to not piss yourself with that, because obviously I still had to play the character of like, oh, well, I'm going to try to be flirty, but also this is actually really funny and cute. Whereas in actual life, I was like, oh my God, this is fucking brilliant. And then we have, so basically, for those of you who don't know, if you haven't caught up on like any of our Touch stuff, it is the story of basically Magpie, who the wonderful Matt Chambers plays. It's basically about all of us with our powers and how Magpie is trying to take those powers away from us and use them for his own evil gain, I guess.
Evil personal gain.
I'm trying not to reveal too much about stuff, because obviously there's stuff we haven't even recorded yet that is in the works for how we're explaining things. Yeah. But spoilers if you haven't listened to the very last one of the Magpie's Nest lot. He dies. I got the very
it was the shortest yet the most glorious job in the world.
It was the most satisfying moment in my audio history I have ever done.
Pushing Chambers off the side of a building.
As the character goes, you will literally listen and just end up like, I can't stand you. I fucking hate you, excuse my French. And he's like,
we are talking about Magpie here, not me.
No, you're the cuddly teddy bear. The polar opposite.
Classic thing of casting the people least likely, unlike the people they get cast.
This seems to be a theme within TNT.
Yeah, this seems to, yeah.
If you're really, really nice, you'll be cast as a baddie at some point.
So
and if you're really, really nice, you become some really horrible person.
Like some of my favourite parts is like Ida with her rats and the birds and the pigeons.
Rats. I love me rats and me pigeons, lad. It's me pigeons, innit? It's nice, innit? Love me pigeons.
And then we've got Oliver, who's just your rager, I'm going to call him. He has very bad anger problems. And then, oh my gosh, we have Abby's character, which has just gone from my head. Mia, who heals people incredibly well, but in the process makes herself ill by doing so.
Heal herself. That's what she needs to do. For Mia.
Like, where is it that hurts?
Yeah.
I just want to point out
my soul.
One of my favorite scenes is between those two, and it's not even a thing. It's a bit of audio